Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to give my sociology presentation on the topic social system. When we talk about social system, the first thing which comes in our mind is groups. Groups of people. If we take an example of our own institution, there are several groups such as administration and teachers and students. These are several groups and they are interrelated with each other. Like they are interrelated and they interact with each other, they communicate with each other. So it forms a social system. So let's see the definition of social system. Social system is a network of relationships and is an orderly and systematic arrangement of social interactions. So as the definition says, certain groups are interrelated with each other, they establish relationship with each other and they interact. Like I gave an example of our institution. Teachers are a particular group, students are a particular group, and the administration office is a particular group. So these groups interact with each other to form a social system, and these interactions are occurring in a systematic manner. So let's see the network of relationship between social systems, like how the groups 4 or 5 or 3 or 2, how the several groups are related with each other. Let's see. As in this image you can see the group 1 is related with group 4 as well as group 3, and all the groups are related to each other. The second group is also related with the fourth one. So like this only, certain groups are related with each other. It's not like one group is only related to the other group. One group can also be related to several groups, and one group can also be related to only one group. Next, we'll see the characteristics and the elements of social system. So first, let's see the characteristics of social system. The first characteristic of social system is based on interactions. As I've told earlier in the introduction, in the definition, and in the image also, that certain groups are related. So social system is only based on interactions. Social system is having characteristic of interaction. Groups interact with each other. So it's the first characteristic of social system, that it is based on interactions. The next characteristic of social system is interactions are meaningful. So this is the second characteristic of social system, that interactions are meaningful. They are productive. They have to produce something. Like I gave an example of our institution, that we interact with each other because we have to gain education. The next characteristic of social system is a unity. This is the third characteristic. It explains that social system and several groups which are related with each other, they have to be united. If they are not united, then it doesn't form a social system. It has to be united in an integrated manner, and it has to always keep on interacting with each other. Then only it will form a social system. Otherwise, it will not be called as a social system. It has to be united. The next characteristic of social system is functional relationship. Several groups which are related with each other, they are related on a functional basis. They have a function to perform. They have an output to produce. If they don't have a function, then it will not be called as a social system, because the groups are interacting without any reason. The next characteristic of social system is related with cultural system. As this point explains, that culture determines certain values of interrelations and interactions. Certain interactions of certain groups are related to the culture only, according to the culture of the people. Let's take an example of certain groups of people living together. So if their culture is different, then they'll interact to know about the culture of the other group. Like we are curious to know about other people. So if their culture is different, then they'll interact with each other in order to know the culture of the other group. So this produces social system, because certain groups which are different, they interact with each other. The next characteristic, which is also the last characteristic of social system, it is an environmental aspect. Social system is also an environmental aspect. As this point explains, the social system has an environmental aspect. It is related with different territories, different ages, and different groups of people. It is dynamic and not static. Static means stable on a position, but dynamic means there are constant changes, activities, and progress. Social system has an environmental aspect and it is dynamic. It is changing, it has a progression, and it has self-adjustment. Here we complete the characteristics of social system. Now let's move on to the elements of social system. Elements mean something which is very important and it has to be there. So there are certain things which are very important to be in social system. The first element of social system is belief and knowledge. As we all know, knowledge is a fact that is true, and we gain it. Belief is a feeling of certainness that something that exists is true. We have a belief that God is there. If we take an example of belief, people believe in karma theory. They believed that if they will do good karma, then they'll go to heaven, and if they'll do bad karma, then they'll go to hell. So it somehow convinced the people to do good karma. This is an example of belief. The next example which I'm going to give is of knowledge. Certain people who don't have knowledge about washing hands after defecation, when they get knowledge about why it is important, because it produces many health problems if we don't wash hands after defecation, then fecal matter will go into our stomach if we eat with our hands then. So if the people are made aware about why it is important, then it will impart knowledge to them, and after that they'll wash hands after defecation. So certain factors which are responsible for certain things which a social system contains. First one was belief and knowledge. Belief and knowledge is very important in a social system. The next element is sentiments. Sentiments are general feelings, attitudes, or opinions about something. Like if we have opinion of love, hatred, or any type of jealousy. So this is only called sentiments. So let's take an example of a society where the older people are free to express their love towards children. All the families will interact in that society, because society is formed by different families. So that society will interact and it will form a social system. And on the contrary, if we see in a society where the older people are not allowed to express their feelings about the children, there they will not be able to interact with each other, because people will think that they are not interested in the children, they don't love the children. So it is very important to have sentiments in social system. We have to express our feeling of love and feeling of care towards one another. The next element is goals or objectives. According to this element, social system is an interaction of certain groups. So these groups have a function to perform, and they have an objective, they have a goal to perform. That's why they are interacting with each other. For example, in our institution, certain groups are there. Let us take administration as a group, teachers as a group, and students as a group. So these three groups are interacting with each other. Then there is an output, there is an objective, there is a goal, which is that we have to gain education and we have to become professional nurses. So we have an objective. Every social system has an objective and a goal. Now next element is norms. Norms, as we know, are certain methods of doing things and certain accepted behavior. So norms are there present in every social system. Like if we take an example of our institution only, we have certain rules which we have to perform. These rules are made for us so that we have to perform, we have to do the things in that way only. There are two types of norms, general and specific. General norms should not be violated by anyone and they are made for everyone. But specific norms are made for only some people, specific people. No norms should be violated because they are a form of rules. They are a form of doing things in the way. The next element is status or role. As we all know, status is the position which the individual has and the role is the duty which the individual is expected to perform. For an example, certain people are at the status of doctor, engineer and lawyer and they have roles to perform according to their status. If we take another example of a male child which is born in a Brahmin family, the male child has the status of male but the duty which he has to perform is of a Brahmin. The next element is rank. Rank is the position related to other, higher or lower. Certain people have certain ranks in a social system. If we take an example of our hospital, then doctors are on a higher rank than nurses and lab technicians. So they have certain ranks. According to their ranks, they work. In a social system, everyone has a rank and they have to perform their duties and they are given status, they are given powers according to their rank. The next element of social system is power. Power is enjoyed with higher rank, status and role. If a person has a power, then he can control the whole social system. For an example, a principal has the power to control our institution. But when she'll retire, then she'll have no authority to control our institution. The next element is sanction. Sanction refers to the action taken against the individual in order to make him or her behave in a particular way. It can be positive in the form of rewards and it can be negative in the form of punishments. If there is the practice of sanction, then it will ensure in a smooth functioning of the social system. So let's see certain sanctions. Here I have certain sanctions within the social system, and the social system is College of Nursing. So sanctions can be positive and negative. Certain positive sanctions for teachers are increments, appreciation, praise, increased privileges, increased salary. So these are the rewards which the teacher is given for a positive behavior. And for students, certain sanctions are appreciation, best student award, and praise. So these sanctions are given to a student on the behalf of positive behavior. The next we will see negative sanctions. For teachers, it is withholding increments, cutting off privileges such as leaves, terminating from services. So if a teacher does a negative behavior, then these could be the punishment for the teacher. For the students, certain negative sanctions are scolding, making them stand for not doing work, asking them to leave class, and rusticating. So these are the negative sanctions which can be applied on a negative behavior on behalf of a student. The next and the last element is facility. Facility refers to the ability to do things in order to attain an objective. For an example, in our hospital, the doctors and nurses are given facilities such as doctors are given cabins and nurses are given nursing station. These are the facilities which are given to them in order to provide care to the patients. So they are provided with those facilities so that they can give care to the patient. So these were some of the elements of social system. As we saw in this class, social system contains of certain groups which interact with each other. Social system is composed of different parts, and these parts have to work systematically to obtain an objective. If they will not work systematically, then it will not be called a social system and it will not obtain an objective. In this class, we learned about the definition of social system, the characteristics of social system, and the elements of social system. Certain books which I referred are, the first one is a textbook of sociology by Neelam Kumari, second edition, PV Publishers, page number 215 to 220. Next textbook is a textbook of sociology for nursing students by Jyoti Srivastav, first edition, and Kumar Publishing House, page number 112 to 116. The last textbook which I referred was Textbook of Sociology for Nurses by Vidya Bhushan, Dr. Sachdeva, Kimalyani Sharma, first edition, Kitab Mahal, page number 220 to 285. So this was the end of my topic, social system, its characteristics and its element. If you have any problem or any query, you can discuss it with me. Hope you understood the class. Thank you for listening.